First, we want to welcome you and thank you for taking a little time out of your night to come meet with us. We're really finally this week, the 4 learning facilitators would tell you they really feel like they're hitting their stride with our learners and the program's actually starting to take life. So with that comes now teaching our parents, our supporters at home, what this looks like for you and how can you support your learner and how can you expect this year to go and what are the resources for you. Because there's going to be a partnership in this, and we really need that. But we've really started to hit stride, and tonight they're going to walk you through kind of a day and what the schedule looks like and what a day for your learner looks like. But then they also have some incredible videos to show you of what's being created by your learners. I think conferences this year, you're going to be blown away by, in a short amount of time, what your learner has already accomplished and has started to produce. Because our whole point of the program was to allow our learners time to do what they do best, and that is to process, to learn, and create something. And they are creating some amazing pieces of work to show their learning for each learning standard that they're going through. So I'm going to turn it over to the learning facilitators. Afterwards, after they wrap up, they're going to stick around. Miss Pedersen is here. Down in front, our building principal, I will be around, and we can answer questions one-on-one individually. So throughout the presentation, if you have questions, just hold on to those, and you'll get a time to ask the learning facilitators or the principals questions at the end. So with that, I'll turn it over to our learning facilitators.
Yes, I think that's me. Okay, well, while we're waiting for this slide to load, that'll go. How many of you, just a show of hands, have heard your learner talk about habits of mind? Anybody? That's it. That's awesome. Okay, so just to kind of begin, we wanted to tell you a little bit about the habits of mind. When we were fortunate enough to go out to Maine last January or February, one of the biggest takeaways that we found was one of the schools had built-in habits of mind, which is basically just teaching learners and adults some great life experiences and things. So we basically taught them for the first little over 2 weeks. We worked with each habit of mind, from persisting to managing impulsivity, and we did some whole group activities with everybody to kind of build some community. So this is a picture of one of our activities that we did all together. If you can see it, we had an awesome speaker come in, and she was talking about the habit of mind striving for accuracy and how important and imperative it was for her in her everyday job. And so we had all of our learners together and listened to her, and then we had another speaker as well. So that was one of the ways that we kind of got our learners thinking about how these habits of mind actually carry through, not just in our school day, but they can carry on in your life professions later on. Just you.
This was another habit of mine that we did with our learners. We talked about thinking flexibly, not only in the classroom, but with different things that we do. So we are trying to apply all of our habits of mind to real-life activities that the kids can really learn from it. So we had our learners, all 94 of them, out in the hallway. We talked about how you have to think flexibly. Us facilitators monitored it, and we showed them exactly what to do, and we crinkled up our arms, and we got all messed up. And then they had to come with their group and think flexibly of how they could get out of this mess without unlocking their arms, and just a fun way for the learners to learn the actual concept. And we talked about how it applies in our life as well as in our classroom. And it's so fun to see all of the learners. They come up with something and they're like, Miss G, I just thought really flexibly. And we're like, great, that's so good to hear. And we hear it all the time, so it's super fun. We have another one that we did, persistence. This is the learner's favorite one. We had marshmallows and we had noodles and some tape. We gave them about 15 to 20 minutes. They worked with a little, which is our youngest group, middles, molders, and olders. And there was one from each section, so they had all the different ages, and they were working together as a team. They had to try to build the tallest tower out of noodles and marshmallows, and it's not very easy. And it was super fun to watch them because they would fail, and then they'd try again, and then they'd fail, and they'd try again. And they were able to understand persistence with their group, and we had no tears, we had no hurt feelings. All of the teams were working together, so it was super fun to see learners of every age working together to become more persistent. And we talk about it in our morning meeting, which will show you what that looks like. But our learners raise their hand. They're like, hey, last night I was persistent. I was on my bike. I fell off. I was able to get back on and do it again. So we're seeing it in the classroom as well as at home, which is really cool. Moving into flexible seating, raise your hand if your kids have talked about flexible seating and they can sit anywhere in the world that they want to sit. And the teacher cannot tell them no. That is kind of true. Okay, so we have our community zone. The community zone, we have a little video where it's going to talk about all of them, so I won't go into too big of detail. But the community zone is the area where we do a seminar, where the teacher stands in front and they do a mini lecture, you know, like in the regular classroom. But it's basically a time where we introduce the learning target, and the learners all sit and listen so that the rest of the week, and however long it takes them to finish that learning target, they fully understand the concepts before they go into the resources. And if they have questions, that's when they ask. It's just a mini seminar, a mini lesson that gets them started on the week. And they meet in the community zone for that, so we kind of have assigned seating, but yet they still get to pick if they're going to sit on the stool or the crate or the floor, so it's pretty cool. Discovery zone, that's where they can discover their creativity and how they master and how they show mastery towards a learning target. We have crayons, markers, all that set up in the back of the room, and we got different crafts there that they can work on. We have a quiet zone, that would be our library, where they have different voice levels that they work on. Fun little beanbag chairs and things for the kids to sit in. The coaching corner, where we pull them back and we work one-on-one with a lot of groups, one-on-one, small groups, and that's where we get that close attention and meet the kids at their need and their level. In the Learner's Lounge, which we have really cool booths. Have you heard about those yet? So cool. It's not even a fight to get there, which is crazy. It took a little bit of time, but now we're good. But the Learning Lounge is a great area where they can do group work and work all on that. If you see up in the top picture, you can see some of the learners. They were reading in the Learner's Lounge, building their stamina up. In the bottom, it's one of our community zones where we have the stools and the crates and the carpet. So a lot of community built into our classrooms, and the kids are rocking our different zones that we have.
Okay, so here's a video of the Learners in the program kind of explaining the different zones and showcasing the voice levels, what the expectations are. So we'll just let you take a peek.
Hi everyone, welcome to Freedom Elementary. We're so excited to show you our studios. Come on.
Should I make it full screen?
Hello there. We are in my studio in the quiet zone, and I'll bring you through the expectations. Okay, so and then silence, which is 0, so you cannot talk when you're in here reading a book, and you can sit in these chairs and you can read. Oh, hi there. I didn't see you coming. We are in our learning lounge, and what you do in here is it's a voice level of 1 or 0, and you do group projects. Hello there. We are in the community zone right now, and in here the facilitator is telling us our new learning targets or what we are going to be doing. Hey everyone, we are in the coaching corner, and this is usually where we do our small group projects, and this is where our facilitator helps us do the needs that we need. Oh, hey there. Welcome to the Personal Flex. This is where we can do what we need, and we get our opportunity to do what we need, and the voice level out here is usually a 0 or a 1. Thanks for checking out our studios. We'll catch you later.
Okay, and like Mr. Leitch said, a lot of the program or emphasis is having the learners be able to choose how they want us to show their understanding. So we just have 2 quick examples for you to see what the learners have created already this year. So here is the first.
We are reading the book Kamiko Quest by Tim Kennard and illustrated by Stan Gordon.
Stella is the main character, and she lives in a farmhouse. Stella put on a suit and got sucked into a video game. Then she got trapped into it.
Hezon, Reina, Stella, and the gaming guide are all the main characters. The game had a malfunction, so Stella tried to press the panic button, but it didn't work.
Stella did not know how to communicate. Then the game guide told her to press the button on the side of her helmet.
The game had a malfunction that was corrected, but the blue predator tried to eat them. Stella and her friends pressed the panic button, and they all gave each other their addresses.
so they could communicate with each other. And 3, 2, 1, boom, they all went home. Stella, Hazel, and Raina all used teamwork to figure out how to get out of the game. Thank you for watching!
Okay, so that was just a group of learners that created a video to showcase the story elements within the story that they read. They read the story as a group and then could create or come up with their own idea to show those different story elements. And throughout that, you could see the characters, the setting, the plot, the main events, and how the problem was solved throughout the story as well. So just another way, we're trying to give them a voice and how they want to show their understanding. And we have one more, a math one here.
Ignore background noises, please, and enjoy it. Bye. And you guys will be learning about please. So just keep on watching. Bye-bye. Here is our number. The 3 goes to 300,000. The 4 goes to 40,000. The 5 goes to be 5,000. The 6 goes to 600. The 9 goes to 90. The 3 just stays 3. The arrow is pointing out at 3. That 3 is worth 300,000. Wow, that's a big number. The arrow is pointing out at 3. This 3 is just worth 3. Thank you guys for watching it. I worked hard because I couldn't find the numbers. Thank you for watching. Now bye-bye.
It's been really neat to see their personalities come out through some of their projects. So that's been so different than maybe what's been done in the past. Okay, I'm just going to spend a couple minutes talking about our schedule, and other facilitators chime in if you have anything to add. So we all meet out. Each of us has kind of set up a morning routine. The kids know what they need to do before they come out to morning meeting. So then at morning meeting, we just kind of go through announcements. We do the Pledge of Allegiance all together. We talk about any reminders for the day. We have what's called a parking lot in each of our studios where the kids can kind of ask us questions, any ahas of things. They can give us suggestions of things that they see maybe need improvement, okay? And any ideas they might have to make the program more successful or better in their eyes. So it's just kind of a way for them to communicate with us, and we can make the program the best it can be. Then from there, we go into our ELA blocks, which is from about 8:30 to 10, and we're all doing ELA at the same time. And we're just kind of getting our groove with ELA. All the learners took an assessment called NWEA at the beginning of the year. So we've been using the data from that test to kind of help build our groups. So with reading, we've had quite a bit of flexibility. So they're grouped with other learners that are kind of at the same learning level as far as whatever concept they're working on. So like our first one is kind of key ideas and details. And then we can use the data. Who's ever kind of at the same level, we put them in the same studio. So then they can work on the same skills at their level with what they need to progress and grow in that certain concept. And then from there, we move on to our math block. And we've kind of started math just in our own studios for now with kind of age-alike peers as we figure out structures and things that are going to work well. And we're hoping to transition now that we've established, the routines and the kids are getting more used to the program and how the expectations are and such. So we're hoping to soon start some flexible groupings with that. Then we go to kind of lunch recess. And again, they go to lunch and recess with their peers in the other Universal Studio classrooms. And then we also have some time for DLI, which is kind of our grammar and our writing block. Some of us do it before lunch. Some of us do it after, just based on schedules and when you go to lunch and recess. And then the afternoon chunk is for science social studies time. And then eventually we're going to get into some learner interest groups where we're hoping that we can get you guys involved more to kind of take some of the interests of our learners and dig deeper. And then end of the day, we end with our specials. So that's kind of what our day looks like. And it's been going great so far. And then after specials, it's basically time to clean up and head out the door. All right.
Okay. Did all the parents get your Buzz sign-in sheet? You should have, because those I see a lot of blank faces. That should have came home Tuesday. I think my studio was Wednesday because I'm always a day late, but that's neither here nor there. But that's a login for you to log into Buzz and just to check to see how your learner is progressing towards a learning target or in a subject. And don't freak out. You won't do any of the work. It's not for you. It's just a parent login. But Buzz is our learner management system where the learner logs in and they can see with every subject what needs to get done. By the time we get everything in, they'll have all their learning targets, and then in each learning target there's must-dos, resources, and then a chance for them to submit an artifact. And the artifacts is essentially the assessment. That's how they show their understanding of the standard that we're working on, and that's where they get a choice. They can do a formative assessment like a test, or they can create a video like you've seen, or a poster, or if they come up with something else that they want to do, they just have to say, Mr. Muth, can I try this? Yep, that's best for your learning. That's fine with us. This flexibility is fantastic. Not only for us to grade it and to see the different personalities, but it's also what's best for them. We're also using Buzz so they understand that the iPad's not just a toy or something with games, but it's their learning tool, their learning device. Learners can see their assignments and submit them. It shows their progress individually. So in math, it may show that they're on pace, they're on track, and it shows them how much that they've mastered that certain skill. And, a big one, they can self-assess. So they can click on the heart and they can show me if they're interested, what their effort is, and their understanding. And I can look at that and say, this chunk's really bored with this, so what do I need to do to make it not boring? And that's something that we get to use as facilitators to make school more fun, which it should be. And it allows them to get multiple sources of information in one area. So right now, we're kind of plugging away, lesson by lesson, but give us some time and we'll get more resources. And like just today, in my studio, we're working on a social studies project, and a learner didn't have a resource. So I Googled it up and threw it in there, and they were good to go. And if you ever have a question on Buzz, feel free to email any of us facilitators. We'll be happy to guide you along to figure out what you need from Buzz. So, this slide started as homework, and I changed it to schoolwork because I don't feel that we should be assigning homework. It should be schoolwork that they want to do at home, because that might be best for their learning. I just said that exact same thing. Gosh, I didn't even look at that. But as a facilitator, if we see that a learner is not on pace or is falling behind, then we have that right to say, you're going to have homework tonight because it's best for your learning to get it done. And at that point, they may not have an option because we still need to keep them on our pace. And if you want access to Buzz at home, which I know you do, if you go to our, what? For your learners. Our Epic site is epiccl.weebly.com. And on here, it has, we don't have anything in this one. But these are all the facilitators. So if you want to see our specific page, resources for customized learning. But this is the one you want, learner resources. That's where you need to go. And on here is a symbol of all the sites that we use in Buzz. And as you can tell, it's blank because I'm just plugging in resources as we need them. This is the Buzz link, and that'll take you to the Freedom login for Buzz. So click on there, you can log in, and your learners can log in at home and get access, or you can log in and check your learners' progress. Oh, that's right. Nope. That one. There we go. Okay. Questions? Ooh, that's a Mr. Lake question. I know what those questions sound like. Okay.
Let's talk a little bit
You have
into Buzz. Just so you guys understand Buzz, and this is good feedback because we need to know this. We are one of 3 elementaries right now in the country that has partnered with Buzz. And what that means is we're in a cohort, and this cohort has said, Buzz has said, hey, you're doing this, let's get all the resources to you. So Buzz has basically given us this entire LMS for completely free. We don't pay anything for this LMS, but with that comes responsibility to us to make sure we're making it better. So if you're having issues like this, don't let it get to the point of frustration where you're just like, it's enough. Like, contact the learning facilitators, let them know what's happening, because we have a huge document that we communicate out to all the other cohorts, and we let them know what's happening so we can get those things fixed. There's no guarantee those will be fixed in a week, but we're in constant communication about Buzz and what's working and what's not working and how to make it better. So from a parent standpoint, because you're going to see it from the parent view, if there's something that's not making sense or you want more clarification, let us know that as well so we can get that better. Because really they're going to make this for us to make sure it works for us. So that's kind of the history of Buzz and where that's at. Right now, I know you probably have some questions, and it's hard to ask into a large group. So the learning facilitators are going to stick around. Ms. Pedersen and I will be around. Come ask us your questions. Get them answered. Leave here tonight feeling good of where your learner is at and where we're heading. We've talked as a team that at some point we're going to invite you in, and you can come and spend time with your learner as a shadow day and come in and hang out and learn with them so you can see the program. That will come, and more information will come out about that for setting that up, so you can come and spend an hour with them and kind of see what does this day even look like. Because we can talk about it, your learner can tell you about it at home, but if you come and live it with them, it'll start to make sense. So at some point, we will set that all up, and communication will go out, sign-up sheets will come out, and we'll get that all rolling. But that's going to be a little ways down the road. But know that's coming as well. Anything else? Ms. Pedersen? Okay. So we're going to leave it up to you guys. If you have questions, pull one of them, talk with them, visit with them, and we'll go from there. So thanks for coming tonight and giving us a little bit of your time.